VFX Blender here today, and we're going to learn how to make portals based off the game called Portal 2. I recently beat the game and I recommend you try it, but as far as I know, this effect has never been pulled off in Blender before, so this is a first, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Here's the node setup, and here's the hotkeys. If you ever need help, you can come back to this. In this effect, we only need 3 green screens. I already had one, so I only needed to purchase 2, which was $14. You can purchase it at Hobby Lobby. Alright, so let's make a template using cardboard, and the height is 54 inches, and the width is 34.5 inches. Now we need to draw a circle in the shape of a portal, like so. And the next thing we got to do is cut out the portal with some scissors until we get something that kind of looks like this. And now we're going to put it over the green screen and just kind of look at it. And now we need to do some adjustments. Just kind of do some fine tuning. You'll probably have to do that too after when you cut it out. And now we're going to put it back on there, and we're also going to put tape on it. And now we're going to cut it out with the tape on there so it will stay in place. And after when we do all that, we should get results like this. And now I'm just got to take off the tape. Alright, so after when we do that, we're going to hang it onto the ceiling. So we're going to have one green screen in the background. We're going to have the green screen with a hole in it hanging, and then there's going to be a green screen on the floor. Okay, here's the footage that we're going to use. The character going into the portal, and then the character coming out of the portal. And we also need to measure how far away it is from the green screen to the camera, and get the same measurements and measure it for the scene. Okay, so let's begin. So first off, delete the cube, and then turn the Blender render into Cycle Render, and then drag out the menu right here, and bring the resolution to 100%, bring the frame rate to 30 frames per second, and the animation is going to last for 100 frames, so make the end frame 100 frames on the timeline. Okay, now that we've done that, hit Shift A and go to Mesh, and then go to Cylinder. Now we want the center of the cylinder to not be filled in, so go to Cap Fill Type and click on Nothing, and go to your Sizing tool now. Drag this down to right about there. Yeah. Alright, now with your red arrow, bring it to about right there to create like a oval shape. Now the next thing that we have to do is add hair, so hit spacebar, quick, and then click on quick fur, and this is going to add hair, but we need to tweak it a little bit, so go to your particle settings, having the portal selected, and bring the number of hairs down to 100, and then the hair length to 0.18. Okay, now that we've done that, go all the way down to children, and bring the random up to 0.2. And that's gonna make like make the hair kind of randomized and not make it so straight. So the next thing that we gotta do is in the game Portal 2, the hairs are actually inward, not outward. So in order to pull this off, we have to hit Shift A, go to Empty Plane Axis, and then click on Force Field. And this is pushing the hair away right now, so we need to bring the strength down to negative 0.2, and this is actually going to suck the hair in, create like an opposite effect. So let's go to the very first frame, and it's sucking the hair in now because it's negative. Okay, let's reselect the portal again, and let's go to Material tab and click on Preview, then click Use Nodes, and we're going to add a shader. Alright, the first shader we're going to add is a refraction BSDF, and the next shader we're going to add is an emission, and we're going to make the emission a light blue, and also bring up the brightness. Okay, now the strength of it needs to be 0.6, Okay. Now we need to see if this portal is looking good. So click numpad 0 and then type in. And it's going to show this menu. And then we're going to do lock camera to view. And if we move our mouse around cursor in the 3D view, it actually moves the camera. And that seems good. We're going to unlock the camera to the view. And now we're going to render it out real quick. But we'll run into a problem. You see how the background is gray? Well, we actually need it transparent in order to pull off this effect. Well, a lot of people know how to pull it off in the Blender render, but I didn't know, and a lot of other people, it's not really well known that you can even pull it off in the Cycles render. So I Googled it, and it took me a little while, but I actually figured out how to pull it off in the Cycles render. So go to your rendered settings, and make sure it's on PNG, because PNG allows transparency. And this is where it's at right here. Where it says film, you need to click on transparent. And this is going to make the background transparent. So let me stop the render of the previous render and render image. Okay. Now we can see that the background is transparent, and we can actually see through all the individual hairs. Pretty cool. But if you don't like how pixelated it looks, you can go to sampling and bring the render up. But the more samples you have, the longer the render is going to take. And for the sake of this tutorial, this looks fine to me. Alright, so what we need to do now is basically we need to kind of make the portal where it kind of fits around the frame of the movie. So let's end the render, and the portal's going to come back. Hit numpad 0, and make sure this menu is up by hitting N. And now we're going to go to where it says background images. We're going to select this and hit add image, and I'm just going to select the movie file that had the frame of the portal. And so you can see that if I go to the end frame, there's kind of like where there's the hole in the portal, we got to kind of fit this portal around there. So where there's a hole in the green screen, we got to fit the portal in there. So kind of bring this up about right there, and then make this a little bit longer. But one thing I failed to mention was if I'm going to hit Control Z to bring it back. We also have to select the force field. So hit Shift and then right click, and then we're going to move the whole thing. Alright, now we're going to rotate it. And then I think it would look good if it was elongated a little bit. Okay, and that looks fine to me. Alright, so now that we've fitted around the frame, we are ready to begin in the node editor. So yeah, let's start. So go to your node editor, and then click on render layer, and we're going to click use node. Okay, and then we're going to use background so we can actually see what's happening. Alright, and we're just going to delete this for now, so hit B, box select, and having it all selected, we're going to hit delete. So hit Shift A, and then go to input, and then go to movie clip, and we're going to select the movie going into portal. Alright, now having that selected, you can see that we need to green screen it. But in order to do this, we have to create a mask around this area right here we got to basically make where it doesn't show all this other stuff off in the distance. So in order to do this, we're just going to create a mask around this green screen. So go to your movie clip editor and click open. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to select the same movie file going into portal. Alright, and now we're just going to click track, and we're going to bring this to a mask. And we're just going to hit Control, left click, Control, left click. And let me go to the very beginning frame so we can kind of see where the character is at. Control, left click, Control, left click. And then I'm going to hit Alt C. And we're just going to readjust this a little bit. Alright. And let's see if the character goes out of the mask at all. Seems good to me. Okay, so the next thing that we got to do, we're going to call this mask green screen. Okay, now we're going to go back to the node editor. We're going to click node editor, and then we're going to hit Shift A, and we're going to go to input, and we're going to click on mask, and we're going to select the mask that we just made. And now we need to combine the mask with the movie clip, so hit Shift A once again and go to converter, set alpha, and bring the image to image and the mask to alpha. And let me hit Shift A and click output viewer so we can actually see what's happening. Okay. Alright, so we need to tweak the mask a little bit because it's getting a little bit of the white part. So if we go back to the movie clip editor, we can just kind of readjust that just a little bit. And if we go to the node editor again, it's going to be cut out. Alright, and you see how the green is a little bit too big, like the whole footage is too big. So if we want to kind of fit this so it's easier to see, we can go to where it says fit right here, and if we hit fit, we can actually see the footage, and it's not so stretched out in front of us. Okay, now we need to green screen it. So hit Shift A, go to Mati, and click on Channel Key. And we're going to bring the low up to about 0.9. Okay. And that's going to green screen the character. Alright, but they're still green around the character a little bit. So in order to fix this, we're just going to hit Shift A and add a color spill. And that's going to take any type of green out of the footage. Alright, that's looking good. Let's just kind of go through it one more time. Just make sure it's all good in the neighborhood. Alright, that's good. Alright, the next thing that we've got to do is we got to hit Shift A, go to Input, and Render Layer. And we need to call this scene right here, where see how it has the blue portal. We need to rename this. So in order to rename the scene, all we have to do is click on Scene, and then spacebar. I mean, not spacebar, but backspace, and we're going to type in blue portal, and then enter, and that's going to rename this scene right here. And this will help us organize it for later. And the next thing that we've got to do is hit Shift A and then go to Color and click on Alpha Over. Alright, and put that right there. And we need to render the blue portal out real quick. And it says you have to have a composite node, so really all we have to do is hit Shift A and go to Output, Composite. And now if we hit Render, it's going to render the blue portal out real quick. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, so the portal just got rendered. So if we go back to the node editor, we can see that it's there again, and that it showed up on top of the character. So if we can zoom up real quick, we can see what's going on. And this is pretty cool. You can actually see the character through the hair right here, which creates a really realistic effect. Okay, so but we'll run into a problem. This looks good so far, but once we get to the frame whenever 1 foot is in and 1 foot is out, let me show you, probably around frame 40, you can see that we need a way where this foot is going to be on top of the portal, so you don't see the portal on top of the foot. So this foot's good, but this foot we need to fix, and it took me a little while to figure it out. But if we just put a mask around the foot and then overlay it on top of the portal, then that will fix the problem. So let's do that real quick. So go to your movie clip editor, and now we're going to click the plus button, because we're going to create a new mask, and we're going to call this mask Show foot. All right, now let's see the frame that we need to start on. Seems like it needs to start about right there. So let's just start masking. Hit Control left click, Control left click, Control left click, Control left click, and Control left click. All right, and try your best not to show any of the green. All right, kind of readjust it a little bit, and then selecting this, hit Alt C. Kind of bring this up a little bit. Okay, and then double type A, and then hit I, and that's going to add a keyframe on that frame. And now we're going to go to frame 35, and I'm only going to show you the first couple of frames, and then I'm going to pause the video and do the rest. All right, that still seems pretty good, so I'm going to hit I. Going to readjust it a little bit, and then double type A, and then hit I. All right, that's good. That's good. This needs to go up just a little bit, and this needs to kind of readjust. All right, double type A, and then hit I. Well, actually, I don't like this. This needs to go inward a little bit. Okay, double hit A and hit I to readjust the keyframe. All right, then go to frame 40. That's good. That's good. That's good. That needs to be fixed right there. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna keep on swimming. Reference from Finding Nemo. Okay. I'm gonna pause the video now and show you. I'll start recording it again once I finish this mask. So yeah. Okay, so now we need to. Here's something to remember. If you want to like move the whole mask up, if you hit G, you can just move it all up, having it all selected. Then hit A and then I, and then frame 60 is the frame that I'm just going to end the mask because the foot is going to be out of the portal space and inside the portal, so that we don't really, the mask past that point is unnecessary. Okay, alright, so let's, yeah, that's not even necessary past frame 60. So let's kind of look at our mask. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now, the thing that we need to do is on frame 61, frame 60 we have a keyframe, and then on frame 61 we want to hit G and move this completely out of the mask, and then hit I. So on frame 60 it's in the it's in the footage, and then on frame 61 it's out of the footage. Okay, alright, now that we've done that, go to your node editor and click on do Shift A and then click on mask, and we're going to select show foot, and then we're going to kind of drag the viewer out of the way like so, and then hit Shift A and then go to converter, set alpha. We're going to bring the mask to alpha, and then we're going to bring the image from over here and add this to the image. And I'll kind of show you what's kind of going on here. Kind of hook this up to the viewer, and so this is going to allow it where on frame 61 you don't see the mask, and on frame 60 you see the foot. Alright, so now we need to add another alpha over, and this time the foot is going to be on top. So hit Shift A, go to color, and then alpha over, and since the foot's going to be on top, we need to put this at the bottom, and now we need to hit convert primal. Okay, and so let's kind of look through it real quick and see if it worked. Alright, yeah, that looks nice. I like that. Okay, we are done with this section right here. So just kind of organize it real quick. I'm going to hit Shift A, and I'm going to go to Layout, and I'm going to go to Frame. And then having, actually, I'm going to drag this out real quick, and I'm going to hit B and hit Shift. No, I'm not going to hit Shift, never mind. Having B, I'm going to box select it all, then hit G. Kind of drag it all up. Alright, now kind of bring the composite and the viewer out of the way. And I'm going to hit B once again, box select it all, and then hit G and bring it into, let me see, bam, there we go. And that's going to make it where it's in the frame. Okay, so I'm going to delete the viewer, and then alright, okay, now that we've done this section right here, we are ready to have another area that goes where, like, okay, now that we've done this, we need to make it where the portal is actually behind the character and the character is actually on top. So hit Shift A and click on Render Layer, and then add an alpha over, go to Color, alpha over. Okay, and then we're going to make this on top, cause that will allow it to make it on bottom. And then this right there. And let's add a viewer node to see what's happening up in here. If I can, what in the world? There we go. Right about there. Okay. And this is going to allow us to see. Going to composite real quick. I'm going to click Convert Primo. Oh wait, I added a composite node. Sorry. Hit Shift A and go to Output, and then click on Viewer. And now we're going to see what's happening throughout this whole area right here. When I'm standing, the portal is behind me, and the character is on front. Alright, so we need to switch up, because once we get to this frame, this looks terrible. So, but up here in this area, this looks fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a switch node, and I'll show you what I mean. So hit Shift A and go to Layout and click on Switch. Alright, and we're going to bring this to on and this to off. Alright, so that will allow us to switch between the two. So whenever it's checked marked, that means it's on, and whenever it's checked off, that means it's off. So right now we're looking at what this node setup is doing, and then whenever I switch it on, we're looking at what this is at this frame. And so if we go to frame 20, this area over here looks good, but if I was to switch it off, this looks bad. So what I'm going to do is, it's going to be switched on until about frame, let's see here, whenever I start to put my foot into the portal is whenever it needs to start. Right about there. So on frame 28, Actually, I would say frame 29, we're going to hit I on the switch. And then once we go to frame 30, we're going to uncheck it and then hit I. And so that will make it where it switches between the two. And then over here, it switched on, so it allows it where the character is on top. So we have officially pulled off the first portal effect for the first portal. Now we need to begin with the orange portal. Okay, so now go over here and where the movie clip is and hit Shift A, go to Output, go to Viewer, and then bring the image right there, bring it to the image on the viewer, and then right click on that so we can kind of right click at the top so we can kind of see what's going on. Alright, good. Now hit Shift A one more time, go to Input, go to Image, click on Open, and then go to Stuff, or just the file that you have your video set. And instead of clicking on going into the portal, I'm going to click on going out of the portal this time. And I'm going to select that movie clip, and make sure that you have movie selected, and then the amount of frames that are going to be in this movie clip is 100 frames, just like the timeline. The start frame is going to be frame 1, and the offset, I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so hit Shift A one more time, go to Output, and then go to Viewer. And connect the image to the viewer so we can kind of see what's going on once again. And then right click at the top. Okay, his foot is right there. And so if I right click right here, we can see that his foot is already like completely down. So this is not matched up at all. So we need to match it up. So in order to do this, let's right click on this. And I would say that his foot in this shot is going to be about right there. So if its foot is right there, then if we click on this viewer, his foot should be right there. And let me go to another area to make sure this is correct. If his foot is right there, then that means his foot should be about right there. So yes, it's matched up now correctly. And that's what we use the offset for, is to match up the two shots. So the next thing that we have to do now is hit Shift A, go to Input, click on Mask, and we're going to select green screen, the same mask that we used up here. Okay, and we are going to hit Shift A and go to Converter, Set Alpha, basically the same process, and then kind of bring the mask to alpha. I'm going to hit Fit so we can see it. And then next thing we have to do is green screen, so click on Mati and channel key. Bring the low to about 0.9, somewhere right in there. And the next thing that we have to do is hit Shift A and go to Mati and then do a color spill, just like at the top. Alright. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit B, box select this whole thing, and then hit G and bring this whole thing down so we can have some room. And the next thing that we have to do is add the orange portal, but we have to do some stuff first. So go to your 3D view, and this might get a little bit complicated. So I'm going to take a little bit more time with this part. See where you have blue portal? Hit the plus button and click on Copy Settings. Alright, and that's going to create a new scene completely. And then we're going to name this Orange Portal. So go back to your blue portal, and we're going to hit A, like so. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to hit Control L and go to Objects to Scene, and we're going to send that to the orange portal scene. Alright, so let's go to orange portal and see if it's there. Yep, it's in the scene now. And so now we need to select all the objects in the scene, and right now, see this little blue dot over the camera and everything? this means that it's linked up to the previous objects in the other scene. Well, we don't want that, so in order to disconnect that, you hit U, and we're just going to just hit several of these things and just disconnect it from anything that has to do with the blue portal. And that seems good to me. Just kind of just go down the whole list. It won't harm anything. And numpad 0. And the next thing that we have to do now is we have to add a material to this portal. So everything's already there, but now we're going to make it a like a type of orange look. Okay, that looks good. And let's see if it's working. So I'm going to go to rendered. Alright, that's working. And then if I go to the blue portal, then the blue portal scene should show the blue portal. So yes, it's working correctly. So now let's go to the node setup. And now what we're going to do is bring the viewer out a little bit so we can have some room. And I'm going to hit Shift A and go up to render layers. But this time, instead of having the blue portal scene selected, I'm going to have the orange portal scene selected. And it's still showing the blue portal. That's because, oh, never mind. I thought we had to take that through the compositor, but hey, it's already showing up. So, nice. That takes out some of the time. Alright, so now all we have to do is hit Shift A and go to color and then alpha over. And we're going to bring the character to the top, and then we're going to put the portal on the bottom. Okay, and that's going to do this. Let me try to, there we go. Okay, now the next thing that we have to do is just like we did at the top, we have to be able to add a mask on the foot because it works through all these different frames. It's working pretty well, but once it gets to right around here, you can kind of see that it's doing the same type of thing where let me go a little bit farther. Frame 40 ought to do. One foot is in and one foot is out. Well, we know how to do that. It's the same process. So we go to we go to movie clip editor, and this is the old scene. So the next thing that we're going to do is hit X. We're going to open the new video file. So we're going to click on going out of the portal. Alright, now we need to add a new mask, so click on the plus button. We're going to name this show foot orange. Okay, now that we've renamed that, let's scroll down, and under footage settings, we're going to bring the frame offset to 6, just like the image node. And now what we're going to do is go to frame 33, just where the foot is about to touch the green screen with a hole in it. And we're going to start masking, so hit Control, left click, Control, left click, Control, left click, Control, left click, and Control, left click. And then Alt C, and just readjust this. And hit A, and then I. And I'm going to do this several more times, but I'm going to pause the video real quick. So I just finished the mask, and I'm going to show you. By the way, at frame 60, the mask is there, and at frame 61, the mask gets out of the frame. And I made the mask get out of the frame right when the character's left foot gets over the green screen with a hole in it. So now I'm going to go to frame 33 and look at the mask and see if it. So it starts at frame 33 and it ends at frame 60. Okay, it's a good deal. Go to the node editor now, and we're going to hit Shift A. We're going to go to Input. We're going to click on Mask, and we're going to select Show Foot Orange. And we also need to get the composite out of the way and hit Shift A. I'm going to add a viewer so we can see what's happening up in here. And then go to converter and click on set alpha. Bring the mask to alpha. And then we need to bring the image from over here to the image on set alpha. And the next thing we need to do is make even more room. And then, we need to hit Shift A and go to color, alpha over. Bring this on top, or really the bottom, and bring the alpha over to this right there. Let's see what just took place here. Okay, so let's see if the mask follows the foot. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's working pretty well. Alright, so the next step is to hit Shift A and go to Input and then Render Layer. We're gonna make make the scene the orange portal once again, and then we're gonna hit Alpha over. Well, actually, we got to do Shift A, and then we got to go to Color, and then click Alpha over. Yep, and convert primal, and image is gonna be on the top. Really the bottom, and then the render layer is going to be right there. So let me get the viewer node so we can kind of see what's happening here. We're going to connect that to right there. Let's see if it's working. Okay, good deal. So now what we need to do is go over here, and we're gonna hit Shift A, and we're gonna go to Layout, and we're gonna add a frame. No, not a frame. Excuse me. We're gonna add a switch. We're gonna make the image on the off, and we're gonna make this go on the on. Okay, now let's see how this is all working. Alright, so let's turn the switch on. So on frame 61, I want the frame to switch on. And on frame 60, I want the switch to switch off. And I'm going to hit I on the switch to add a keyframe. Okay, so let's see if this is working correctly. That's good. That's good. So next thing that we need to do is we need to bring the viewer node all the way up, like way out of the way. It's going to be like way off in the distance. See if I can grab it. Yep, there we go. Okay, and now what we got to do is combine the orange portal with the blue portal now. So let's hit Shift A and go to color, and then let's go all the way to Z combine, because we're going to combine the two portals. I'm going to put this on the bottom, or it can go on the top. And then I'm going to put this switch, having the blue portal, I'm going to put this at the top. And we need to uncheck the anti-Alias Z. And then we need to click on Use Alpha. Okay, so it basically put these two images together. and it looks kind of messy. So what we got to do is we have to hit Shift A and go to Distort, and we're going to add a scale because this is way too big for the background. And we're going to hit Shift A and then go to Translate because we need to move it around. Alright, so I want the scale to be around, let's see here, 0.75. And then the Y, I want the scale to be 0.75 also. And we're just going to kind of move this out of the way, like I would say around negative 130. And now we're just going to do the same thing up here. We're going to hit Shift A. We're going to go to Distort, Scale. We want the scale to be at 0.75. And then the y-axis to be at 0.75. Alright, and the next thing that we got to do is we got to hit Shift A, and once again, go to Distort, and click on Translate. And then now we need to just bring this to around 300. Alright, now that we've done that, we are ready to add the background. Before I go any farther though, let me just kind of scroll through the timeline and just see if it looks right. Yep, looks good to me. Alright, now hit Shift A, and we're going to add the background. So go to Image, and I'm going to click on Open, and I'm going to open Background PNG. And let me connect this to the viewer node real quick so you can kind of see what the background looks like. Alright, you can see it's just a background that I had. I took a picture of the garage, and then there's two pictures that I took looking on the other side of the garage. I'll show you my GIMP setup real quick. All I have is I just made two holes, and it's transparent behind it, and then I just added some images behind it, and there you go. And how I was able to create the warp effect was if you go to this and then you go to Filter, and you go all the way to Distort, and then you click on Lens Distortion, you can tweak with the settings and add lens distortion and create this warp effect. Anyway, that's how you pull that off. Let's go back to Blender. Okay, so now we need to bring the viewer out, and then hit Shift A, go to Color, and then go to Alpha Over. We're going to put this at the top, and then we're going to add the Z Combine on the bottom. And then we're going to have to remember to hit Convert Primo. And once we do that, it should all start looking normal. Okay, but we need to do some adjustment in the translate. It seems like it needs to go down a little bit on the y-axis. I'm going to say 21. Oh, oops. Let's opposite, negative 21. Okay, yeah, that perfect, or close to it. Negative 21, and now I'm just going to kind of adjust the y-axis. Let's go a little bit to about right there. There we go, that looks nice. And then on the translate, I'm going to bring this. Let's see, does that need any work? No, that the orange portal already looks good. Okay, so we are done with this part, but we are really ready to start the render. But I will say though that if you want the portal hairs to actually move around, let me show you how to do that real quick. So go back to your 3D view and hit numpad 0 so we can kind of see the portal. And having the portal selected, go to your particle settings, and where children is at, we're going to go down to here and click on radial, and we're going to see this saying frequency right here. So if we move this around, you can actually see that it's actually moving the portal hair a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the keyframe. We're going to add a keyframe on the first frame. So go to the first frame, and then hit I on the frequency. And then we're going to go to the very end frame, and we're going to bring this up to, let's say, 7. And we're going to add a keyframe there. Oops. Alright. If you accidentally add a keyframe where it's not supposed to do, if you hit right click on your mouse, you can delete keyframe. But we want to add a keyframe to frequency. Bam. And there we go. So let's look at our portal real quick. Alright, it's kind of glitching, so, but yes, it's moving. Alright, and it should also apply to the orange portal also. Let's see if it's applying to that too. Yep, the portal hairs are moving around. Okay, alright, so that means that we are done practically. Woohoo! So, yeah. Oh, that's right. Whenever you go to your node editor, you must make sure you're in the blue portal scene. Got kind of scared there for a second. I was like, what happened? Okay. Hit Shift A, and then go to Output, and then go to Composite. And we're going to bring the image down to Composite. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to start the render. Alright, so you should be getting this. This is the first portal, the blue portal that's going to render out first. And normally I would pause through this part, but I just want to show you the first frame and how it renders it so you can kind of see if you got the same results. And the next thing it's going to do is it's going to render out the orange portal. And then after, when it goes through that whole process of rendering out the orange portal, then it's going to put it, add it with like the character walking through the portal and everything. So yeah, this has been a fun tutorial, kind of complicated, but anyway, we did it. So really exciting stuff. After, when it renders out the orange portal, yeah, it's gonna it's gonna say finished, but it's gonna keep on rendering, and you're gonna see this little bar moving around right here. It's gonna probably go through this bar like 3 times until it actually shows you the frame. Alright, and then the third time, let's see if it goes through again. There we go. Okay, and it should show it right about now. Yes! Okay, good deal. Woohoo! Man, that's alright, and that's going to do the next frame, and it's just going to do that 100 times. So, yeah, I'm gonna pause the video and show it to you whenever I finish it up. So the render is done. So to those of you who do not want an image sequence but actually a movie, click on your PNG and select MPEG, and now select MPEG 4 in the encoding. Instead of having a collection of images, now you're actually going to have a movie. So please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Now I'm going to show you the render results.